everyone, how are you? How's it going? Do people have a good day at work or at school? Hi, Tox. What is it like in the land of the living? We're gonna do Python today, but yeah, need to set up a new Python. That's good to hear, Tox. I'm glad. Okay. Oops, sorry. Hi, Duncan. This is only going to be for beginners, so you will probably get bored. What did it say? 10:16. Oh no. Cool. Okay. So after the stream is over, then I will push the code to GitHub. The GitHub is in my profile. And yeah, if anybody is currently taking a class in Python and needs help or is confused about something like loops or conditional statements or something like that, or functions, a little bit with classes. Thank you for the heart stat STLA. We can work on that stuff too. But during the live, I don't take programming, technical interview questions. So if anybody's trying to test me on my knowledge, then it's not really going to happen. So just letting you know as we get started. Is anybody here to learn Python? Anybody interested in coding, or have you never tried coding before? Cool, Anna. Yay, GO3. Okay. Oh wow. What are you learning in your data science class, and do you have to use Python? Cool, Mame. How do you link your computer screen to your phone? This is not a phone, this is a camera. Hi, top class. Thank you for saying hi. So the camera links to a, what is it called? Capture card, like video capture card. And then I stream through TikTok. Cool, Tox. We're not really building anything Java the Poet. We're just doing beginners Python. So I'll go ahead and get started. And I'll do my best to respond to questions in the chat, but sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. Hey, Goncher, thank you for joining. Okay. Let me pop up my chat again. Let's see, so trying to figure out how to have multiple things at once. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, one more second, please. Thank you for being patient. All right, I think I have it figured out. Okay, cool. You can use Python for different things like automation. You can use it for web development. You can use it for data science or machine learning. Kotlin to make Android apps. Cool. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's do strings. So I'm going to say title equals Princess Bride. And then we'll have year equals, I don't remember what year was released. Was it like 1987? Yeah, there are frameworks for web development. Django, Flask, Fast API, so like backend stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and do string. This is a string, and what I'm writing right now, this hash, is just a comment. I don't always start with title, I start with string though, because string is a data type. Okay, so 1987, so this is going to be an int, and this is just a whole number. Alright, and then we have a float. Hi, Pams. I'm not teaching specifically automation right now. Alright, so float we can do, I'm just going to do cost equals 1999. Ooh. A college course is more complicated than this. Thanks, Chuck. Okay, let's see. Automation could be a lot of things, like you can deploy Jenkins builds, like multiple Jenkins builds at a time, just by you know, triggering an API. It could be parsing data from a CSV file and then triggering some kind of other API. There's a lot of different ways. I don't use JavaScript. Let's see. I don't teach private classes. So this is a float, which is just a floating point number. And then what else do we have? We could do Boolean, like is tired equals true. Thank you, Lily. All right. Okie dokie. So let's go ahead and do list tuple strings, or list tuples. Tuple set. So a list is going to be ordered, indexable, mutable, and allows duplicates. So when we do a list, could we get like flowers in the chat, or do you want to do colors? We could do colors. And I'm going to use square brackets for a list. Can people add some colors to the chat, please? We're using strings, so thank you, Diode. Red, cool. Purple, blue, magenta. Cool, thank you. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go with purple, blue, magenta, and then we'll add a couple of these other colors in a second. Apparently I have something on my mat. Okay, so we have purple, orange, violet, blue, pink, cyan, pink, lilac, orange, opalite. Opalite, I haven't heard that one really. Orange, cool, thank you. All right, so colors are ordered, which means that every time we print out this list, it's going to be in the same exact order, right? Let me change this to the current file. Okay, so we have red, purple, blue, magenta. We expect it to be in this order, and it's going to stay in this order unless we make changes to it ourselves, but otherwise it's not going to change. We could also print colors at 0. Thanks, Ludivine. Alright, so if I print colors at 0, it'll print red. That's because Python is 0 indexed. I don't know. I don't do web cybersecurity, so I'm not sure if Python is required. Cool. Yeah, it'll print red. So Python is 0 indexed, which means that it's going to start at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So colors at 3 will be magenta. How you can change your path? What do you mean by how you can change your path? Okay, so when we say that the list is indexable, we mean this, right? We can get an element at a specific index. Similarly, like with colors, this is ordered, so it stays in the same order. And then, let's see, so we could do colors at 0, we can reassign. So let's go ahead and give it orange. And then we'll print it again. Okay, so let's see, print colors at, oh, actually we can print all colors. Hi Amara, how are you? Let's see. Chop Suey, what do you mean by like 100 days of coding and linking up? Let me see. I'm doing okay, I'm tired. Okay, so colors, when we print out colors now, it's gonna say orange, purple, blue, magenta, and that's because we reassigned orange, right? We could also, so Halib, I did Java on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Maybe I'll do Java on Monday again next week, but it'll be beginner's Java. Let's see, why color at 0? Because in Python, we start from the 0th index. We don't start from the first index. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3. I completely agree with you, Luna. If you don't like Python, you don't have to be here. I learned Python by using online resources. So in my GitHub, you can check out, let me see, GitHub. You can check out the resources on the Python Learning repo. So the GitHub link is in my bio. So you can check out these different resources, learnpython.org, W3 Schools, Geeks for Geeks, Beldung, Tutorials Point. Kaggle is just for like, Chop Suey. Yeah, so you can message me directly, but mostly I do this just live, and I do the same ones in general. Okay, cool. Oh, Candy, I'm glad. Thank you. GitHub class. I'm pretty sure you mean Git, but let me look, okay? Or let me think about it, because I was gonna do it. I was going to do it, like record it, but it's a little bit. It's a little bit difficult to, like, you know, record that on the screen. Luna, you can just drag and drop your folder to another place using the user interface. Yeah, I have a Keychron keyboard. Okay, so we said like colors are mutable, or strings are, oh my goodness, lists are mutable. So colors dot append, we can append something, so we could append violet. And then if we print it out again, print colors, right? Then we're gonna get violet. So now we have violet, and append just adds the string to the end of the list. If you're just getting started with Python, you can check out these resources. And we'll leave it here for like a couple seconds while you screenshot. Hi Arav, this is a Keychron keyboard. All right, I'm gonna put it back now. Thank you. Okay. Cool, I'm glad, Candy. Yeah, it's possible to learn Python. That's why I'm doing it live, so that people know that they can learn it. Okay. Why did Violet appear? Because we appended it to the list. Append just means add to the end of the list. Alright, so we have append. We could also remove from the list. So colors.remove, and maybe I'll remove red. And then I'll print again. Oops. Let's see, what did I do? So it's saying, oh, red's not in the list. That's fine. So that's because we already removed red, so let's remove purple instead. Alright, so now you see we have orange, blue, magenta, violet, because purple is no longer in the list. I am streaming on YouTube and TikTok right now. Thank you, Coda. Okay. Why did orange appear? Because we replaced the element at the 0th index with orange up here. Angie, you can just hang out and watch, or you can set up your computer and code along. Does append only work on lists? So append is a function that's available on the list, data structure, or object. But when we're using like sets, we'll use add instead. And I want to say maps you use put, but that might be in Java. This is PyCharm. Okay, so we did append, we did remove, we reassigned a value at a certain index. What else? You could add duplicates to this. You could just put blue in the list twice. Print just means that you're printing to the console. Alright, so now we have blue twice. Alrighty, so no, this is not a game. Okay, now let's do tuples. So for a tuple, let's do they're ordered, they're indexable, ordered indexable, they are not mutable. I'm using Windows, but for work I use a Mac. They're not mutable, but they do allow duplicates. Right now I'm only running lives twice a week, Michael. So on Monday and Thursday. How long did it take me to code? I first learned over 10 years ago, but I didn't start streaming until a couple months ago. Alright, so for a tuple, let's go ahead and do flowers. So we're going to use parentheses for tuples. So what are some flowers in the chat? I don't share what school that I went to, Stacen, not on TikTok. You do TypeScript in your dreams. Sunflower, cool. Roses. Tulips. Tulips. What else do we have? Peonies. Okay, cool. So that's enough flowers for right now. Thank you. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we're just going to prove that we can do that the tuple is ordered, it's indexable, and that it allows duplicates. So I'm just going to go ahead and print flowers at, let's do at 2. And what will it print? Flowers at 2. I'm using PyCharm for writing. You don't have to learn PyCharm first. I learned Java first. Okay, tulips. Right, okay. So that's because, again, remember that Python is 0 indexed? So 0, 1, 2, right? Okay, so 0, 1, 2. So flowers will print tulips. And also, if you could help me out and like the live, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's go ahead and run this. So now we get tuples. Thank you. I'm not showing pandas. Is tool the same as an array? Okay, so a tuple is not the same as an array in Python. People have said it's like a constant list. So you could think of it that way. The tuples versus lists, they are mutable, meaning you can, append, you can remove, you can reassign elements, yeah. And then with tuples, you can't append, remove, or reassign. So let's see, tuple, but we can get the value at an index, and we can also print out what is the entire, tuple. No, a stack, in Python you can use a list as a stack. You would just access it differently. You would just remove and add to the list differently to make it a stack. How long did it take me to get to this level? So when I first learned Python, I was like learning how to work functionally, and then I didn't really learn some of the tips and tricks of using Python until I took a class through CodePath to practice for interviews. So because it was very challenging to study for interviews, and then like in CodePath they have you do a lot of practice runs where you're interviewing each other. Hi ISI. Then it made me learn more of the syntax and more of the functions, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm tired. Work is tiring. Okay. So we have flowers, you can see here that sunflower, roses, tulips, peonies, they're in the same order, right? But then, or when we print flowers at 2, we get tulips, which is what we expect because 0, 1, 2. And then if we wanted to, we could also have duplicates, so I'm just going to put roses here at the end. I know you can't see it. And when we print it, it says roses, but you can see it in the console. You missed a help desk job by one day. I'm sorry, dude. We're not at loops yet. And I'm sorry if I miss anybody's messages. What happens when I run that? One second. Would it just be -3? So if it's -3, then 1, 2, 3, so roses? Cool, roses. So that's just like a very complicated way of like just saying -3. How do you like TikTok stream? You just tap the stream. Just tap. It's not an index out of bounds error in Python because in Python this is still a valid index. It just starts from the right hand side, so it'll go 1, -1, -2, -3, so that's why it'll pick roses. Oh, you said 0, 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. I think it would print. Actually, what does 0, 1 mean? Or 0, 3 mean? It's not valid. But you can do 0, 3, and that's a substring from, I think, sunflower to tulips. Yeah, it'll show a substring from sunflower to tulips. Make chat your mentor. Honestly, I do like that, you know, Python lets you do weird things like -1 will let you get the last element in the list or in the tuple. It works on lists too, so you get peonies. Hey Valen, or is it Valen? Welcome Rob. I'm sorry I cannot help you with your JavaScript homework. Yes, Amara. Tuples versus list. So a list is just ordered, indexable, mutable, and allows duplicates. A tuple is ordered, indexable, not mutable, and allows duplicates. So the only difference is that a list and a tuple are, the list is mutable, the tuple is not mutable. So the first element in the array is termed 0, and the last element in the array is termed -1. So it's like indexes or indices. So the first element in the array will be at index 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, because Python is 0 indexed, it starts at 0. Other programming languages also start at 0, like Amara mentioned. And then if you are going backwards, this is only in Python as far as I know, you can start at -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and you should get red. Or if we did here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -4 should be sunflower. So there you get sunflower. Mutable means that it can be changed. So like we did up here where we changed a specific element. So colors at 0, we changed it from red to orange, and then we also appended and removed from the list. And that's just mutability. Hi Ronan, this is just Python. When would you ever use a tuple versus a list? So there's a couple reasons why you would use a tuple versus a list. So one is that a tuple is just going to have less overhead because there's less like methods on that data structure or that object. And also with a list, it's dynamically sized. So you can make the list bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you make the list bigger, then it has to reserve a certain amount of space in case you decide to add more things to the list. So when you're making the list or when you're adding to the list, then it might reserve more space, right? Or it's going to reserve more space. And just having that additional space reserved is part of what makes it less efficient. So if you're looking for efficiency and you know you're not going to change the values or the elements in your list, then you could do a tuple instead. Thank you, Swift. Okay. Dictionaries, hash maps are also an option. Yes. We haven't gotten to those yet. So we can do a set. So a set, the pound or hash sign just means that this is a comment and it's telling the program, or it's telling Python to ignore everything after this this hash. And I think if you wanted to do a multi-line comment, that would it be 3? I think so, right? This is a comment. So you could use 3 quotation or double quotes on either side for a comment as well, if you're doing like a multi-line comment. I don't know what CS50 Python problem sets are, Aaliyah. Is that like Harvard or MIT OpenCourseware? So I first learned Python like 10 years ago. What's the difference between pound and the 3 double quotes? It's that pound is a single line comment. And then this is a multi-line comment. So you can have multiple comments within the quotes. Append works for lists, and it just means that you're going to add an element to the end of the list. Okay, I'll check out okay, it's the Harvard course. Let me see, copy. I'll see if I can look at it later. Problems. Yeah, you still need to understand programming to be able to vibe code effectively. Let's see. How long does it take to get comfortable coding? It depends on what it is that you want to do. It could be 3 months, it could be 3 years. With Python, you don't have to end the line like you do in Java, Tessa. That's a good point. I'm a software engineer, yes. Plus equals just means that you are incrementing, so you could do like x equals 5, and then x plus equals 1, and then you would print x, and this would give us 6. So it's just the same thing as doing x. It's saying x plus itself. So it's saying x equals x plus 1. That's the same thing. Sources of data, CUDA, the best place to look, I think, is Kaggle. So if you want, you can just search up Kaggle, but otherwise if you want to, you can look at my GitHub README file, and it has some resources, and I included Kaggle right here. I don't share where I work, Noah. Plus equals just means it's incrementing, it's adding to itself. Thank you, Mathematic Fanatic. Do you do math live streams too? I started with Python. Is that a good place to be in? Whatever coding language is comfortable for you is fine. JavaScript is known as the programming language of the internet, so you can use it in the browser. GitHub repo, it's in the bio. Are if statements enclosed, and how do loops work in Python? So if statements in Python look different, let me, I'm gonna say, oh. Okay. So let's see, show how a function is created and how does it function. Can Python replace JavaScript or just work with it? So JavaScript and Python have different purposes. It just depends on the use case. I said that I don't. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm gonna keep going. Let's go ahead. We did list tuples, now we could do sets. So let me go ahead. Do a set. So sets are unordered. They are not indexable. They are mutable, but they do not allow duplicates. Hello! I read very slowly. I don't do one-on-one tutoring. Alright. So, a set. What should we do for sets? Sorry, I'm trying to think. Pokemon. So we're gonna use parentheses. No, I don't know. Think script. So I'm trying to post my sessions on the live stream. Anybody want to add Pokemon? No Pokemon? How about animals? We'll change it to animals. I don't code and Go. Pikachu, cat. Okay. Alright, so we have cat. Any other animals in the chat? There's no more animals? It can be a lot. Cinderella, dove, wolf. Thank you. Okay, wolf, gopher. Oh my god, wolf. Gopher. Cool, jaguar fish. Thank you. I missed you difficult. Alright, so now we have, actually, sorry, I made a mistake. This is not we're gonna use curly braces for a set, right? So what we can do is we can go ahead and, sets are actually kind of interesting because you can do like mathematical sets with them. So let's do animals. Okay, let me think. So we can, if we want, we could do if, oh sorry, cat in animals, print, yes, there is a cat. Alright, so what this is doing is we're checking to see whether or not this list contains the string cat. So I'm going to run this, and it prints, yes, there is a cat. Let me go ahead and comment out these other things that we don't need anymore. Right? So I run this. Yes, there is a cat. So this is really an easy and fast way of finding out whether or not there are certain elements inside of a set. And it's faster than a list is, so that's when we would want to use this. Rather than having to iterate through a list, we would just go check if this is in here. If you wanted to, we can look at some of the, let me see, we have set functions in Python. So these are some of the set methods. So we can add to a set, we can clear, we can remove all elements from the set. Oops. Right, okay. We can copy a set, we can get the difference between two sets. How do you put the list into the program from a sheet? You could use a CSV file, for example. It doesn't have to be a CSV file. You could just use a text file if you want to. You could use an Excel file as long as you're using the Excel library to be able to go through the Excel sheet. You can also, these are more mathematical functions too. So you can check the difference, you could check the intersection, you could check whether two sets are disjointed. You can check, or let's see. Oh, and also this is another cool thing that I found out recently. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you can see. Okay. So you see, these are the shortcuts. So instead of just using the difference function, you could use a minus. Oops. Instead of using the difference function, you could use the minus, or you could use and to get the intersection. You could use less than or equal to get is subset, greater than or equal to get is superset. You can get the symmetric difference, you can get the union of two sets, and you can update the set. Alrighty, so let's go back. So another thing we can do, so if we want, we could do animals dot add, and we could add an elephant. Can you use Python to clean up your CRM? Remind me what CRM is. Customer relationship management software. You're talking about Salesforce. I haven't used Salesforce or a CRM, but it just depends on what you're allowed to use with a system. So I'm looking up, can Python be used in Salesforce? It says it's not a native programming language. I thought that Salesforce was more like a Java. But anyways. So let's go ahead and keep going. We have animals.add elephant. We can print the set. So print animals. And then what do we get? We get wolf, dove, cat, gopher, elephant. So notice how originally when we initialized the set, we put cat, dove, wolf, gopher, right? So the thing with this is that we can add something, right? But it's not going to maintain its original order. And that's one of the drawbacks of sets. but you don't really need to have it maintain order because all you care about is that you can access, or you can like check whether something contains something very quickly, or you can use set functions on the set. Okay, so we can do dictionaries next. So for dictionaries, we would do something like can we have characters and their favorite foods? So for example, Mikey from Ninja Turtles really loves pizza. Does anybody have any suggestions in the chat? So Mikey loves pizza. Momo loves peaches. Momo means peach in Japanese. Garfield and lasagna, that's a perfect one, thank you. Garfield loves lasagna. Oh yeah, Scrat, lasagna. Garfield. Romeo loves Juliet. Okay, Anish loves driving. Who's Anish? Or is that you? Okay, so you said Scrat is nut. Homer likes donuts, that's a good one. Okay, cool. Alright, so now what we can do is we can do a loop. So we can do for character and food in characters dot items. And then I would, this is a function, right? So I would use the parentheses. And then I would say, thanks everything you need. I would say print, we're gonna use an F string, which is a formatted string. And I'm gonna say like, character loves to eat food. Alright, so now let me go ahead and comment these out. And let me print. And now it tells us Mikey loves to eat pizza, Momo loves to eat peaches, Garfield loves to eat lasagna, Scrat loves to eat nut. I should have said nuts, but it's okay. And then Homer loves to eat donuts. So thank you for helping me with that. Okay, now let's see. What else do we have? Does anybody have specific questions that they want to ask that are related to beginner's Python? Thank you for the rose. 80s flow. Thank you, Kalia, for the heart. Thank you, Mr. Difficult, for the heart. Thank you, Leah Gardens, for the 11 hearts. Sorry, I missed that earlier. Thank you, everybody who's given hearts and flowers. Function examples. Yeah, Aaliyah, you like functions. Okay, string functions. So I'm going to go ahead and get them from W3 School. So string functions Python. Okay, yeah, see, there's a lot of functions. All right, that's fine. Okay, so let's see, we could do here we could do, I think we could do dot capitalize. Can we do this? Okay, we run this. No, that did not work. Okay, so let me, I wonder if we could do it up here. Oh, that's because it's already capitalized. My bad, sorry. Let me say dot lowercase. Let's see, does this work? Nope, it doesn't like that. let's see, capitalize, case fold, center, count, encode. Upper. Okay, thank you. Upper. Alright. Nope. Alright. Thank you. Upper. Opportunity, I don't know what you mean. Please start from line 1 when you finish. Alright, so we could do lower. Run. Now it's in all lowercase. Let me see. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. This will only, let's see, what do we have? YODTR. Okay, let's do if food starts with A, then it'll print true. Oh, sorry, I meant ends with. My bad. Okay, so Mikey loves to eat false. Momo loves to eat true. str dot starts with function. Yes, I have done list comprehension in Python. str dot starts with function. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. If you want me to do a function, then I have an example that I usually use. So we could do input we're gonna say num underscore underscore pizzas equals 0. No, we're gonna say input. And we're gonna say, how many pizzas did you eat? Right? And then we could do, you can do a case if you want to, but we're just gonna do an if statement. So we can say if, num of pizzas equals, 0. Is it? Print. You didn't eat any pizza. We could also do elif. Num of pizzas equals 10. We could do less than 10. And then we could print, you didn't eat much pizza. And then we could do else, print, you ate a whole lot of pizza. So if the person inputs, let's see, we could say less than or equal to 0. This isn't a real number, but okay, we need to cast this to an int also. So let's cast this to an int. So now when I run this, it's gonna say how many pizzas did you eat, and I can put 10. It says you ate a whole lot of pizza. So we could go ahead and put this into a function. So we could do this like 2 ways. We could just put this part into a function. So I'm going to refactor an extract method. You're welcome, Aaliyah. So I'm going to say get amount or get pizza message. Okay? So now we have this definition for a method up here. The int function, this is to cast a value to an int. In this case, we're casting a string to an int. So we're trying to like convert it or force it into an int. Exactly. Aaliyah. Okay. So right here I could do get pizza message. All I have to do is pass a value because, let me see, if we run this, technically it'll work because it's still using this value, but we don't really want to have it work this way. We want to pass a value. So let's instead call this slices here. Okay. And now this is a parameter that we're passing to the method, right? So we're going to go ahead and for get pizza message, we're going to pass this variable. So we're going to pass num of pizzas. And then it's going to go ahead and pass this variable, whatever we got from the input, is going to pass it to this method. And then this method is going to go through each of the conditional statements and see which one equals true. And then it's going to print a message. If none of them resolve to true, then it's just going to default to else. This is just beginner's Python, Daniel. Any other questions, Aaliyah? Cool, you're welcome. Andres, so basically it used to say num of pizzas here, right? But I changed it to slices because I don't want to worry about like a global variable being used in the method. I want to sort of isolate them because sometimes something might change outside of this method, and I want to be careful not to mistakenly pass a certain value or use a certain value in this function. So I'm making sure that I have control over what value I'm passing to the method, so that when this, when this code is executed, that it executes the way that I expect it to. If you say 9, we could try 9. Let me go ahead and mute this, or not mute, comment this though. My cat just made a weird sound. Okay, sorry, this one needs to be uncommented. elif is else if, yes. In Python we use elif. Wallahi, I'm not sure why you waited like until your midterm to learn to eat or learn everything. Okay. So here, how many pizzas did you eat? 9. So here it's saying if slices is less than or equal to 0, you didn't eat any pizza. If slices is less than 10, then it's going to give you didn't eat much pizza. And it says, let's see, otherwise, which we're going to assume is greater than or equal to 10, it's going to say you ate a whole lot of pizza. Any other questions in the chat? Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate your help. Why do we print inside the function rather than returning a string and printing outside? It's up to you. It just depends on what you want to do. We can do that. So we could just do return, sorry. You could make a string, like a string variable, and return that, or you could just return each individual string. And if we just return like this, and we run it, then what will it print? Trick question. You could enter string 9. It comes as a string from the command line. Exactly, nothing. It won't print anything. Thank you, Nikita. Good job. Good job, Nikita. Good job, Milo. Okay. So, exactly. Java, I'm streaming on Monday, Kevin. So if we wanted to, we could assign a value to this. We could say message equals this, and then print message. Right, and then we print this. It will say how many pizzas did you eat? I don't know what to tell you, Nikita. I should not say what I'm thinking right now because I'm being recorded. So how often do I go live? Like twice a week. My teacher used to teach me this, but I still don't understand. It's okay, I still don't understand Spanish. I tried many, many times. How does it know the number of pizza from the user is the slice? Because when we are passing slices here, this is the parameter for that, or this is the parameter that we're using. So it's taking that variable that we're passing to the method, and then the parameter is being used in the method. Why do you have to store your function call in a variable to print it? You don't. You can just do print like this. It just depends because sometimes it might improve readability to put them on separate lines. Okay, so if we do this, it'll still work. You don't define how many slices are a pizza, you ask about how many pizza, not slices. That's fair. So you could say, how many slices did you eat? And then you could say number of pizzas, number of slices. So if that's the problem, then that's like a logical error. That's not actually I'm gonna change it this way. Refactor, rename, and then say number of slices. So that's not something that's actually wrong with the program, and it still gives us the correct answer. It's just that we named things wrong. So that's just a logical error. Brian, that's a good question. We could try that. So let's go ahead and run this. I think it's gonna round 1.2 down to 1, and then it's going to just take it as 1. So if we say 1.2, oh, we get an error. Okay, so it doesn't automatically cast it. We would have to do something about that if we wanted it. Yeah, type error. I thought it would cast, but use float, I might eat 1.5 slice. Yeah, you can do a floor or ceiling call. When you ask how many slices in Nama pizza, the parameter for if else, how does it know? It is referring to the slice. Gotta cast that in since input returns a string. Yes. Exactly, Kevin. I think percentages you would have to do some formatting. So like, I think you would just treat it like a regular number, like statistically, and then just multiply by 10. So if you did 90%, that doesn't work because percent is a unary operator, or is it? No, it's binary operator. So you would have to do like %2, and then you would get a valid statement. So this would be 45. No, it would be 0. So print percentage. Yeah, it would be 0. So you would just, yeah, exactly. So you would put like 0.0125, whatever is your percentage, right? And then you would do something like print, and then you could format. Actually, let me check what the formatting is in Python. Okay, cool. All right, so print, use the formatted string, and then we would go like, your percentage is, and then we could go ahead and do percentage times 10, and then could we do 0.2? Oops, Control S. So let's go ahead and run this. And so when we're doing this here, this looks more complicated than it should be, but we could also just add the percent sign here. Let me turn this off. Commenting this out. So this, what it's doing is that this looks complicated because I'm doing the multiplication, but it's essentially just truncating the how many decimal places there are. So it's saying only have two digits after the decimal place. Oh, you could do it like this. Cool. Okay, not bad. So you could just put the percentage in there. Multiply by 100, not 10. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Keyboard, I'm using Keychron keyboard. I started learning Python 10 years ago. How long did it take me to learn? I would say fundamentals 3 months. Fell in love with .NET. Beefcakes, that syntax does not work in Python. Actually, you are correct. It does work in Python. Let's see. So if we did 2F instead, then we would just get 0.02. I don't recommend bro code just because I haven't tried it before. I don't really recommend things that I haven't tried, but I know people have suggested it. Like, if it works for you, that's great. Like, if something works for you, that's all that matters. It doesn't. If num remainder 2, or sorry, what is that called again? I do agree that netcode for DSA is best. Yeah, you can do that if you want to, Isaac. So, how would you write 2% of 89? If you wanted to write 2% of 89, you would say, result equals 89 times 0.02, but I think, do we have a floating point error? Let's try this. Cancel. Oh no, it works fine. Okay. So it gives us 1.78 is 2%. Isaac on YouTube asked me to use the modulo to do conditionals. So we could do if value %2 is 0, print oh, sorry, let me do f value is even. So I would do something like value equals 12, right? I feel like there's more math people on tonight. I use Java, Mike. So I run this, 12 is even, right? What is your capstone, King? Hi, Buckingham Man. No, I don't know RStudio, RE. What got you interested in this? I first took like HTML when I was much younger. And then I started learning to program. Let's see, any front end stuff? No, I don't do front end and I'm not in university. Why am I learning programming? I am a software engineer, so it's my job. The children yearn for garbage collection. So reverse, it's like totally up to, you know, whoever's working on it. If they prefer Jupyter Notebook, they can use Jupyter Notebook. Cool, G-Bops. Flowers bloom, why would you use string concatenation instead? Trying to wrap my head around using lists to get certain actions done. Make a rock, paper, scissors game using these. Oh, that is an interesting one. I forgot about that. So what you could do... Don't be scared, Marie. Okay, so... flower bloom, I agree with you, but whenever I have done Python streams and Pythoners come online, they are not happy with me for using string concatenation. I would say it is hard to do software engineering tenor. Okay, so let's go ahead and, yes, this is for beginners. You want to do rock, paper, scissors with the list. So, okay, let's go ahead and pick options equals rock, paper, scissors. I completely forgot about this example. This is a good example. So you could get a random number, so we can do like import random. Is it random or random dot random? We'll figure it out. Okay. And then we would get value would equal random dot something. Random dot rand int. Okay, random dot rand int. Int. And we would say from 0 to 3, and that's not inclusive. So then we would say something like, we would say if value modulo, oh, that's what it is, modulo 0 equals, modulo 3 equals 0, then we would say print options at 0. We would say else if value modulo, oh, somebody's gonna tell me. Let's say result equals value modulo 3, or we'll do that afterwards, sorry. Value modulo 3 equals 1, print options at 1. And also this, because this is not even going to change, it would probably be better to make it a tuple anyways. So let's go ahead and make this a tuple. Ooh, tuple, okay. And then else, we could just say print options at 2. Okay, so let me see one thing. So we have our random, okay, so let's just see if this works one time. I agree with Rixo. If you learn the concepts, then it makes other programming languages easier. And that's part of the reason why I suggest Python, because Python is much easier to learn than other languages. So now, let's see, options, scissors, rock. So you could even make a color picker with this kind of thing, like a random color picker. But anyway, so this is, if we want to make this a little bit more optimal, we would just, instead of doing this calculation for every line, we would replace this with result, and then result. And this would have a bigger impact if there were more times that this calculation was being used. Let's see, declare define above without usage. Let me go ahead and comment this out because we don't need this. And then value was value. Okay, value was also defined above. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, you don't have to use modulos, but yeah. Yeah, there was no reason to use modulo, my bad. So if we say pick a random integer between 0 and 100, then it would make more sense because now it'll actually take the modulo. Code is all formulas and problem solving, trial and error, yes. Isn't rand 0 to 3 mean 4 possible values? I think it's 0 to 3. It's exclusive of the last number. So if we pick, let me see. I'm pretty sure it's exclusive of. Is it data structures or algorithms class? Do you have an internship? I already graduated. You know coding, but you're nervous about applying to jobs. I think you just have to practice. Look at random. You have to practice user, and if you practice with other people and you practice like coding problems, then that'll help. See, I'm looking at the older messages. Be your practice buddy. I don't practice like this right now. Hi, okay, Dan. Sorry, I missed your message. You've been trying to learn audience for 2 years, audience member, or you've been trying to learn Python for 2 years. Okay, sorry, I'm coming back down to the messages, the most recent ones. Okay, can't you just print options instead? I don't know what you mean. Let me see. Do you play any games that support code writing? I don't play any games. Code Academy, Codex is another one that people play. I'm new, please. How do I practice? You can start with coding games if you want to, or tutorials. Best way to study for a CS midterm or final. So studying for tests, you have to make sure that you take notes when the professor is teaching, and usually they tell you like what they want you to pay attention to or what's going to be on the test, and then you take those notes and then you review them. Let's see. What's your question? Do apps use Python to run? Mobile apps? No. Mobile apps might use Kotlin, Swift, Flutter, React.js. What source am I using to learn Python? I'm not learning Python right now, but in my repo, my GitHub repo, I have a list of tutorials you could use. The farmer was replaced. What does that mean, Kevin? Run. I mean, we could... Okay, so let's just look at the documentation for that. Random int. Oh wait, here, it just says it here. Generates a random int between... Oh, okay, I guess it is inclusive. I was thinking about range. Okay, let's see why I chose Python for learning. I didn't choose Python for learning. Like, I was working on a project where I wanted to use a Raspberry Pi, and that's why I used Python. It is easy to use, Rixo. Oh, the farmer was replaced as a game. I don't know what's opening. Stop. That's interesting. It says this person is saying, oh, it says Python Q. I don't know why my computer is complaining right now. It's telling me to stop using this. Okay. Thanks, Rixo. Which language is mostly in demand in the market? You could, okay, so you could look at most popular languages. Programming. It depends on what country you're into. So this is the most popular languages, right? Deny. And it says, what are the most popular languages? So in October 2025, Python was the most popular language, but popularity doesn't necessarily or inherently mean jobs. F strings in the chat to pay respects. What does that mean? So we have Python, C, C++, Java. These are in the top, or in C# are in the top 5. JavaScript is up there too. We could look at most in-demand programming languages. So this is from Spectrum, IEEE Spectrum. So it says Python is at the top. I think that's because of artificial intelligence and machine learning stuff and data science. And then Java is next, and then C++, and then SQL. Java is partially going to be because of like much older programs running on Python. On Java. Oh, here, jobs. Okay. Python, SQL, or SQL, and then Java, JavaScript, TypeScript. This is according to IEEE Spectrum. Angular runs the world. C was hell to learn. I actually kind of liked C. I didn't like my professor, but that doesn't matter. Verify this type if values. What was your project with the Raspberry Pi? It was for parade floats to control the animations. So I was working with parade floats and I wanted to create a system to replace their old control panel, and it was basically like it would control like hydraulic pumps and motors and things like that. So it was supposed to run on a Raspberry Pi and just have like a touchscreen interface versus like a mechanical board. And what ended up happening was that I was trying to use multi-threading, and then I realized that there would be memory issues with multi-threading, and I was worried about the safety because some of the hydraulics were like, they had very heavy components, and I was worried like what if the component wouldn't be able to stop, like an emergency stop, and I didn't want anyone to get hurt. So then I was trying to think about how do I make it better. So then I decided, or I was doing some reading, and then I decided multiprocessing would be better than multi-threading, but because the Raspberry Pi that I was using didn't have multiple processors, it couldn't do multiprocessing. So it could only do multi-threading, and I think it just simulated multi-threading. You don't have to learn Java if you don't want to, Dennis. Yeah, I didn't really think that before Rixo, but I did realize, like, as I'm getting, as I'm getting older, as I'm getting, like, more, like, stronger in programming, I've realized the benefit of pseudocode. Racket? What is Racket? I think Python is also very similar to pseudocode sometimes, so that can also be helpful. This panel, it's from Home Depot. Every cybersecurity job is requiring Python. Is anybody do like white hat hacking or like those competitions? How can I learn that? Help me find out how I can find bugs and get those bounties. But I mean, if you can already get the bounties, then you're probably not going to want more competition. So, what's your question, Angel? Python is close to just writing English. Exactly. Just now completed a leak code problem. Good job, Pravi. Proud of you. I don't like Python for object-oriented programming. I prefer Java. The Python documentary? No. I watched the BlackBerry documentary. What resources do you use to learn? I can't read your name. So, on my GitHub, I posted some of the resources. So, this is the README file on the Python learning. Okay, Rick, so I was like, are you suggesting that people learn Pascal? Because I was like, what? Do I use any frameworks? I use TryHackMe. Yeah, I want to. But like, I'm like, how much time would I actually put in, and how much, like, what would the payoff be realistically? Because I'm not going to put that much time into it. So, I mean, it probably doesn't make any sense to even try. because like you're not going to be able to actually make any or find anything if you don't like actively put so much time into it. You like Python for OOP? I like Java better. I'm not as comfortable with OOP and Python. The best language to learn is whatever one you're interested in. Trash. Pascal isn't that bad. I haven't tried Pascal. Let me see. Python for web development could scale. There are big companies that use it for web development, but yeah, Python is very good for MVP or like just proof of concept. Was struggling with linked lists on LeetCode King. Yeah, exactly, Rixo. Whenever I switch from Python to Java, then I forget that I'm supposed to put like the code in an actual method instead of just putting it on the class. My GitHub is Learn to Code with Ali. So you can find me there. Oops. Oh my goodness. Okay. What programs for learning APIs? You could use Fast API with Python if you want to. I feel like Java is a little bit hard, like Spring Boot, to get started with APIs. And there's a lot that can go wrong. But that's just me. Still good practice to keep code and functions for Python. I mean, it is, but I don't even really bring up functions to people until later on. Yeah, and if I'm like just writing a script and it's not complicated, like not too complicated, then I don't even bother with functions. I know that that's not good, but I really like that you could just put the code in there and just run it and it works. Oh goodness. We're getting raided by the .NET warriors. Wanted to start a YouTube to teach coding and try to make it fun, but always talk myself out of it. I mean, it's up to you. It's not super easy, like doing live streams, but if you're doing YouTube videos, then you have to like cut it, right? And that is time consuming. That's part of the reason why I'm like not cutting videos like I should, because it just takes time. And if you make a 3-hour video, then you have to watch 3 hours of video and cut it down. I don't share my age on TikTok, Mickey. I'm not like a fan of Jupyter notebooks. Not that there's anything wrong with them. Like I didn't know, but I can just make a Jupyter notebook here. But like, and I guess it would be easier. I don't like it as much. It feels like too restrictive. Range divisible by 3 so that you could get an equal chance. Yes, that is something to consider, Joe. SQL injection, but taking a bit long, so had to hop on TikTok. Hi, Prince. Notebooks are more data scientists. Yes, they are. Would you be down to tutor my study group online? I do this in my free time, right? And I don't get paid for it, and I do this after work when I'm tired. So it's very difficult for me to like tutor a large group of people or a small group of people, even, especially people that I don't know. Python strengths and weaknesses. Can you do my coding assignment? I'll pay you $100. Huh. That almost sounds interesting. Hi, Diamond. This is beginner, but we're pretty much done right now. This is the part of the live where we just end up chatting. I'm not gonna do somebody else's homework. Like, $100, huh? That's like 2 hours of work. If I could get it done in 15 minutes, then that would be pretty good, right? Like, it's hard getting programming jobs, yes. I'll teach you to solve it for $100. Go for it, Kevin. I have an associate's in software development and Cloud Plus. Still work at Amazon. That's cool. Do you offer tutoring? Whoa. If you can hear my back, that's the sound of somebody who's been sitting all day. Oh no, John! Oh no! Oh no! I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. And then the chat, like, just. So I guess you figured out how old I am, Mickey. GitHub Copilot can probably do your coding homework for $10. Do I play with ML workloads? Right now I'm using Oracle to do that generative AI certification, and then I was going to look at the intro to data science certification as well if I have time. So after I'm done with this, I'm going to go do that. Not because I actually need it, I'm just kind of curious, and it would be nice to have like a certification even though it doesn't matter. But like from Oracle, I don't know, I know it doesn't matter that much. What projects have you built in Python? Nothing recently. Do I need to be a genius to work in software development? No. They want a bachelor's degree with 2 years of experience. In about 10 years, the only jobs that will be left will be programming and building robots. So, Kevin, this is an interesting topic because okay, so I was doing the Oracle certification thingy last night, right? And they were talking about what is code good at? And what are LLMs good at? And one of the things that it was saying LLMs are good at is creating code from scratch, but it's not good at debugging code. So what that sounds like to me is that our jobs are not going to be to create code, but to debug the code that's being created by these bots. And like LLMs. We did do all those things, Rachel. Thank you for joining. How were you able to go to Japan and Singapore? I'm surprised that you recognize both Japan and Singapore in my video. So for Japan, I just went like vacation, like that was my graduation gift to me. Singapore, it was for a conference and I received a grant to attend the conference. No, I know it's more about learning. And I like some of the topics I don't know. Can I make the Iron Man suit? I really wish I could. If I could, I would. But also, it's like a weapon, so. You built a crossword in Python? That's pretty cool. Did you use a GUI? Yes, Kevin, I agree. People are scared of programming, but it's not as hard once you try. That's part of the reason why I try to do these live streams, because people are scared, but people are scared, or that's why I do the live streams, because it shows people that coding is not as scary as it looks. I agree, D. Scheider. For a student, would it be smart to focus more on personal projects or getting A's in school? You don't have to get A's. You should try to get higher grades, like B's or higher, but you should try to get internships, like work experience. And then sometimes to get work experience, you have to have projects, so, and you have to like do leak code practice, so yeah. How's y'all GitHub commits looking? Don't get lazy now. Are we supposed to be committing code right now for some reason? What was the name of the conference you attended in Singapore? I feel like you're asking so many questions, no name. Don't take school too serious, work on personal projects, get the minimum GPA to graduate. I don't agree with that, Sir Can, but programming is for us. Machines do not care about codes. It's for us, a language to understand them. Yes, Zulus. You could do both. School should obviously be a priority. Personal projects have no deadline. Yes, Rexo, but there are people who get like straight A's and don't get a job after college, and part of that is because they didn't get internships. And sometimes, like, if you do an internship, then your grades are not as good as if you weren't doing an internship. I mean, like, obviously, if you could do amazing in everything, that would be great, but do you type Google inside Google when trying to Google? No, you don't need to do that, Gaz. Who is complaining at me for not programming? If you're a C++ programmer, you don't have to try Python. It's only if you want to. How many years of experience do you have coding? I have 2 years of experience working, and then Anurag. Have you used Python for scripting? I used it for scripting and for automation, like at work. I'm doing internship and my grades are good. Good job, Huffy. People are saying different things. I think I can get B's and get an internship, but not A's. I mean, people are gonna say different things. You have to like decide for yourself what are your priorities, and then you have to learn from the consequences, basically. And you have to decide what's best for you. You can't expect other people to know what's best for you. Coding editor that I'm using is PyCharm. Software development or computer science, and why? How hard is it learning and C++ if I know Python? Java and C++ will be very different from Python. Yes, I agree. And like, you have to learn other concepts that are not as necessary in Python, like garbage collection. You don't need to know in Python. I'm not into ML. Why PyCharm and not VS Code? Because I do not like VS Code. I am a software engineer and I do QA automation testing. You started to learn to make apps, but you only made a calculator and I can only add. That I feel like is very relatable. So if I'm laughing, it's not laughing at you. It's like, I completely understand. Some internships don't care about the GPA, just if you have experience or the will to learn anything. Yes, Khalifa, but then other ones care about your GPA. Rixo said, I wouldn't let anyone start with C++. Most of your code will be memory unsafe due to pointers. Visual Studio Code Gang. Do you use Selenium? No, I don't, because we're not testing UIs, we're just testing backend. Where is the best place to learn coding, like self-teaching? So, you can check out my GitHub, and my GitHub has some resources. Okay, I am a bit tired and I think I'm gonna go 11K on a boot camp. That's a lot of money, Ricardo. I hope you get that. I hope you get that job. All right. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm gonna log off because I think I'm gonna try to do that AI certification thingy some more, and it's only until October 31st that it's free, so I don't want to pay for anything. Yep. Aw, thanks Rixo. It was nice having you. Link to Oracle? Sure. Let me get it for you. Okay, so we could go Oracle free certification. So there's a bunch of different things that you can learn. It says AI, cloud infrastructure, there's multi-cloud and data as well. No live tomorrow. The next live that's scheduled should be for Monday, but sometimes in the morning on the weekend I do live stream. Why does Python not have the literal Python docs, all you need in it? Python learning, oh, I see. I mean, it's just start from opportunity. This is gonna be available on GitHub. I hope you enjoy it, Bittner. It is interesting. They also, it's really good quality. Obviously, they use a lot of references to journal articles, so I kind of want to read some of the journal articles to learn more. There's a bunch of different certs that you could do. This is as high as it goes opportunity, but it's still gonna be available after. Why will Larry Ellison come after me? Doesn't he own part of TikTok now? I agree, Kevin. I think that having to go to having to go to work. I think having to go to work is a scam sometimes. What do you mean I can't just go home? He's going to spawn on your screen too? Why? Not answering that question. That's a weird question. Alright, I should go. I hope all of you have a good weekend. Check out the Oracle certification program if you're interested. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you, what happens. Let me know if you finish it. Let me know if you don't finish it. Let me know if you find anything interesting in it. Thank you. Ladry Ellison is coming. Okay. Now the chat is creeping me out. Alright. Hope everybody has a good night. Bye bye.